We can do everything.
Well, we do either we do stuff online, so we have students run around in that.
It's good.
Like this meeting talks on it. Or we do destination, so like my colleagues are
So you just
yeah, like 2 days. Mostly like business model, management. What about you?
Oh, you need the voice. Oh, okay.
You're on
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, it's just a very catchy name. Well, it's when you came back. Okay, I'll try it. Still the website. So in your role as well, shoes, international. So is that to help like create markets and build value chains? That's cool. That's a really cool thing. You know what I mean? I'm wondering if it's the so normally what happens yes. It's true, it's fun, especially things like this that you want to do at the same time. You know, that it's good to have in person. It's like, for example, someone like yourself, somebody that's maybe like a middle manager who wants to grow
Okay, I think people are slowly arriving now, but we've got a lot to cover, so I think we can get ourselves started. Hi guys, how are you doing? Yeah! Let's talk about branding, identity. So yeah, a couple of little points from me just before we get started. First of all, I'm from England, and English is my native language, and I get excited about cooperatives and cooperativism, and I might start speaking up, I might start getting energetic. So I know a lot of people here are listening in a second language, and I think that's fantastic. Wonderful to come to a conference and listen in another language. Give yourselves a round of applause for that. That was very impressive. Well done. So yeah, if I start to lose you, or I'm starting to use one language, then please just put your hands up, slow me down, or bring me back, because I want everyone to be together with this, okay? Secondly, this was going to be a 2-part session that I was going to run today and tomorrow, but I thought that might be a bit difficult because people are going to turn up tomorrow and they haven't been to today, or you might be here today and not be able to make tomorrow. So I've bashed them together, so we're going to cover it all today. So I apologise if I'm looking at my notes today just to keep myself on track. And then lastly, as I've been doing too much talking and drinking too much coffee, so my throat is going a bit. So if I go for some water or to die in a corner, then that's the reason why. So please bear with me for that. Thank you guys. So let's get started. I'm also going to be walking back and forth a lot to change the slides. Good exercise for me. That's the benefit of having the biggest room in the whole building. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Tom, and I work for .coop, in case you didn't know. And I know what you're thinking, this isn't going to be one long advertisement for the .coop domain. That's not what I'm here for. What I would like is for you guys to come to your own conclusions about the domain, you know, for me to talk through the points of it in and out, and then you guys to make up your own mind, okay? Let's start. First of all, let's have a little competition. And we'll talk about branding. I'm going to ask you a question, and the answer to this was in the opening session. It's a number, and I want you to see if you can remember it. Don't shout it out loud. If you know it, just pop your hands up, and whoever puts it up fastest and gets the answer right will win a prize. Are we ready? Yeah? Okay, here we go. The question is, how many people does the ICA think is involved in the cooperative movement in the world today? I'm going to go with 6. So does this say anything? 1 billion people, yeah? 1 to 2 billion people. Okay, I'll take that as 1 billion. That's the correct answer, everybody. Give me a round of applause. We have a fantastic .coop travel mug here. There we are. So everybody, take it off. There we go. Right, my friend on board now, yeah. Round of applause for him, everyone. Okay, so let's start off. I want us to all be on the same page with what branding is and what identity is so that we all have a good idea of how this works. So let's start off. I have some ideas from all of you. So, anybody just shout out, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think brand identity? Let's have some ideas.
Logo.
Logo, great one. Thanks, brand identity, by the way. Hey, good logo. We will talk about that later on. Good one. Anyone?
Name.
A name, a business name. Yeah, so the organizational name. Great. Any others?
Look.
Look. Yeah, so like your sort of your theme. Yeah, your look and feel. Hello, Reza? Image. So do you mean your style? Or your... Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's sort of okay. So you're thinking more of what people feel when they think of your company. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Anyone else?
Typography.
Topography. Oh, right. Yeah, great word. I like that.
Typography. Typography.
Typography. Right. Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Topography. That's to do with geography. Isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. I went to school.
The message.
The message. Okay, so is this like the purpose or the tagline?
Yeah, the purpose.
The purpose of it, yeah. Notice. Lovely. And let's go for one more. Anybody else got one more? No? Okay, that's great. These are, can you see it? Yeah. These are all very, very important for branding. They're very involved in branding. But they've all got one thing in common. Logo, name, look, to do with the image, the typeface and that sort of thing, typography. Maybe not so much the purpose. When we think about branding, these are more about the communication of your business image to your target audience, be it the public or service users, something like that. So in terms of branding, these fall more into the idea of marketing. And marketing is the essence of communication of your brand to your audience. What branding is, in a similar way to this, if you think about an organization or a business, in particular cooperative as a person, you've got the bones and the body and the structure. That is the physical essence of the cooperative. That is the people that you employ, the structure of it. The strategy, maybe the people leading the direction, they're the mind, the thinking part. But the brand and the image of your cooperative, that is the heart or the soul. That is what gives your organization life. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this. Here we go. I might have to stay over here a bit more. Let's have a look at some of these. Yes, please, I'll point if that's okay. If you don't mind, we'll have to skip on a few later. So, let's think about some brands. And this is really exciting because this is where I get to find out all about some brands and organizations that you have in your own countries. There's quite a few of us, but let's go around. Loads of different countries here. I want to go through each of you and think of the first iconic brand that springs to mind. It can be international, Coca-Cola, for example, but it'd be even better if it was a local one or a regional one that you can think of. So, let's start with Finn over here. Think of a brand. Anything.
Nike.
Nike. Good one. Very big, very powerful. Starbucks. It's okay if you can't think of anything, we can, probably don't need that many, but...
For French,
Renault. Is that the right one?
Yeah.
Thanks, sir. I'll apologize if I butcher the spelling of these, by the way. Let's move on to another table over here. Oh, actually, sorry, did you want... Have you got?
Russia,
Putin. Is that an organization?
It's brand.
Well, very, yeah, okay, yes, absolutely. And we will come to that later on, so great stuff.
Strong on our...
Yeah, that's right, yeah, he's got a lot of power. Italy? Yeah, what sort of organization? Just Italy? Ah, yeah, is it like an E at the end? Or a, yeah. Do you want to write it? I knew this was asked before. Ah, yeah, true. Oh, yeah. Lovely, yeah, that's a good one. Another one from this table, a different country perhaps? Which one's that one? Do you want to come from like that too?
Is it Amazon?
Oh, Amazon, right. I'm English. Yeah. We're terrible like that, as a species, aren't we, English speakers? From this country, table. GYF? Oh, okay. Nice. Hashtag GYF. Let's go for one more. Nestle, yes. Very big, worldwide.
Air Canada.
And Air Canada. Great, we've got some great countries there. So, can anyone tell me, just off the top of their head, what is it that links each and every single one of these iconic brands together? And there's one thing in common. Does anybody have an idea? Logos? Yeah, they do. They do all have a purpose. Yeah, absolutely. Very important for an organisation to have a really driving purpose in mind. And it's similar to that, actually. All of these organisations.
A lot of financing for making this brand.
True.
Not by itself.
Yeah, absolutely. These organisations can have a lot of finance behind them. I'm not sure if the GYF guys would think that there was enough, that they'd like to put more towards it, maybe, yeah. So there can always be more. That's a good idea. But one of the key things that links all of these organisations together, and every time that you see a very big brand, the key characteristic is the fact that a team of people, probably marketers or branding experts, have come together and they've thought very hard about how this brand is going to look, how it's going to feel, and how it's going to be presented to the public. They started with a product or an idea, and they thought carefully about that. And that is really important because even if we're trying not to be, we've all been influenced at some point by branding. Even if we want to reject capitalism, no. Branding is what it's all about. A good example of this is Diamonds Are Forever campaign by De Beers. You might have heard of this, you might not. They're a diamond mining company and selling. They came out with Diamonds Are Forever. Has anyone heard the Shirley Bassey song? Diamonds Are Forever. And then it was a Bond movie as well. Have you ever seen the Bond movie? Diamonds Are Forever. Yeah. So you can see that this is a way that the branding that the De Beers company have come up with has entered public vernacular and has actually been used amongst people. That is very significant for branding. A new slide. So, let's break some brands down into what they actually do. Let's break through the mystique of branding. Does anyone know what Luckin Coffee is? Chinese people, what Chinese people here? New? Counting on that. Luckin Coffee is a contender in the Chinese market against Starbucks. Starbucks has been setting up a lot of coffee chains. China have been, or Luckin Coffee. It's okay, actually, I think we might have a lot of people. Thank you. Sorry about that. Luckin Coffee, they're a contender. So they've got a great brand and people are moving towards Luckin Coffee and seeing it as a new sort of Chinese alternative. But what is it that they actually sell? What is a coffee shop? What do they put out? Come on, some ideas. Coffee beans, exactly. That's simple. Hot water, noodles maybe. Not all that special, is it? Nike, what do they sell? Shoes, sportswear. In essence, its material has been cut into shapes, stitched together. Any different to what we're wearing at the moment?
How about that? I'll shout. Yeah. On the microphone. What's called microphones? Maybe the battery has died. Okay.
Hello. Maybe my voice is too loud. My battery's lasted a bit longer, hopefully. So Nike. What were we talking about? That's right. they're just creating clothing, no different to what everybody else is wearing. But you will see people like Tiger Woods, head to toe in Nike equipment. They will say they love Nike. Now this is because this brand has hit on a very, very important point. That is, that the idea of branding is to bring somebody's message to the very heart of themselves, to get them to internalize it, and to actually make it their own identity. It becomes part of them. And public, in essence, then own your brand. So it doesn't belong to the company, it then belongs to the public. Very important. Okay. Oh, I think that's fine. Let's go back. Yeah. So how is this significant for cooperatives, and how is it significant to the modern age? Well, it's an amazing time right now. Digital is creating a whole new world. It's a very old adage, but there's never been a time like this before. It's probably been said forever, but it's never been more true than today. And we'll have a look at some examples of why that is, and why corps can actually harness that. Got the Matrix there. We're all in the Matrix, aren't we? Saw that on the plane on the way over. I forgot how good it was. Does anyone remember the Matrix when it first came out? We'll do some age tests in a minute. See what you remember. So the fact is about digital is that before, when people were sort of having access to branding, they were watching their television in the evening. After a hard day's work, you'd be driving, you'd see a billboard. All of these were your access to a brand and access to marketing. This is different now. We have a phone in our pocket 24/7. We are able to get into our phones and access the online world when you're at work, when you're at play, when you're resting, when you're talking with your friends. These are all opportunities that companies now use to put their branding in front of you. It's a really open topic as well, social media and all this sort of thing. It's a big talking point. We're at the crux right now. Very big. So, let's do the age test. Who, hands up, if you remember a time before a smartphone? Yes. Excellent, good. Some very young people here. Wonderful. Okay. Now next, who remembers a time before musical ringtones? So it would just be a ring. Yeah, I remember that time. I remember when the first one came in. So amazing. Okay, here we go. We're going back further and further. Who remembers a time before mobile phones in your pocket? Excellent, yeah, me too. Yeah, we all know.
Very old.
You don't have to answer this. Yeah. You're what, 21? Yeah, that's what. Okay, let's go right back. Who remembers an actual time before the internet? Yeah, send somebody to work to download a question you had, yeah? Wait all day for my mum to come home so she could ask a question. Who remembers a time? Sorry, go on.
Like encyclopedias, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Encyclopedia salesman, they come to your door. Have you got tea yet? No, I'm going to pay you $50 for it. Anyway, yeah. Who remembers the time before colour television? But you guys got to get out.
Oh, maybe.
You're way too old. You've failed the test. You're too old. You should do it.
Maybe my family's more.
Okay. Amazon, somebody mentioned. Susie mentioned Amazon, wasn't it? Now they are somebody that has really harnessed this idea about what digital can do, and they do everything backwards. Most organizations that want to sell something will set up a shop. They'll sell it for a bit and they might go really well, and then they'll set up an online shop. Amazon came along and they said, we know how people shop, but we want to change this. So they decided to go online first, and by the power of their brand, they were able to actually change the way people live their lives. They've started to shop online. Now they're buying real estate to build shops. Everything backwards. But this really highlights how powerful a good brand can be, and how we need to be able to look at branding and identity to be able to make our cooperatives a success. It's a very, very important thing. Yep. This is one of the reasons why. I'm just going to double check quickly here. Yeah, we're in the right place. That's always a good sign, isn't it? So, staying ahead of our competitors. If you are doing a cooperative that's providing a service or a product, somebody comes out with something that is similar, the same, or even slightly better. What is it that we're going to be able to do to make sure that people don't immediately go towards something else? And the reason of that is the brand. Because if people are invested in what you're doing, people that connect with your brand on a personal and emotional level, they will be twice as valuable to those who are merely extremely satisfied with your service. I didn't make a point to write down where that came from, but I've lost it. So, but it is a fact. It's just, I can't remember where it came from. I'll find out for tomorrow. I'll let you know. And this is how YouTubers today operate when they bring their sort of subscribers into a place where they are going to pay them money. Do we have any YouTube alternatives for Asia? A place where they upload videos? They have YouTube stars? Anything like that? No? Do we have any other alternatives to YouTube?
TikTok.
We have in that.
Yeah. Yeah. And
It's got
Apparat. Right. And people upload videos and they do get paid for adverts and things like that?
For everyone that you can advertise.
So these organisations that have managed to pull together a group of paying subscribers, they're the ones that are able to utilise their brand to really harness that power and create money, products, and services that people will be interested in. Okay, so you've listened to me yak for quite a while now. So let's do a little energizer, because it's getting late in the afternoon. I appreciate you all being here that way. Everybody stand up, please. Before we start talking about branding, let's shake off the first 20 minutes. I'm going to say the name of a superhero, and I'd like you all to adopt the pose of what you think that superhero represents to you. And as an example, I'm going to do this. If I say Ant-Man, I'll do this. That's what I think your hand looks like. God. He's a bit of a superhero. First one then is, and you've got to try and be different as well. There's copy the person next to you. Superman. Go for it. Stroke pose. Oh, I like that one at the back there. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, next one I'm going to say Batman. Brilliant one at the back there. You're going to do that? Yeah. Round of applause for that one. Yeah, definitely. Wonder Woman. Nice. Yes. Is that a lasso? She does have a lasso. Yeah, absolutely. There we go. Excellent. So yeah. I'm going to say, who's another one? This is a tough one. Tough one to finish with. Aquaman. What was he doing there? Was it trident? Oh, it was a trident. Lovely. Yeah, I like that. Like a connection. Yeah, Aquaman. Wonderful. Everyone take a seat. Thank you very much for participating. Give yourselves all a round of applause. That's great. You all win an Oscar. Okay. What I'd like to do now is to have a think about how we can start off thinking about branding and thinking about identity and its value. I'd like to go around the tables and see if anybody can tell me of a time when there was a very established, well thought of brand in their local area, but then something came along and suddenly it's the new thing. What sort of brand was it? What did they sell? Go for it. Kodak. Yes. Brilliant. They refused to adapt to new technology. Absolutely, absolutely. And the thing about Kodak was they were a market leader, weren't they? They were one of the most powerful. It's a good example of how just getting in there first doesn't necessarily mean you're going to stay the distance. Anybody else think of it? Blockbuster, yeah, they're the ones that went down, but it was Netflix that took over from, wasn't it? I think it was subscription video that killed Blockbuster, wasn't it? Let's say Netflix, but it was Blockbuster that they killed off. Again, Blockbuster, there was one in every town in the UK. Sorry if this is more Western-centric, but it's what I know. But there was a Blockbuster where you could rent a video in every town. Netflix comes along, they're all gone. BlackBerry, right. What did they went down? They did, and yeah, nobody really uses them anymore.
Nokia in the same folder.
Right, so Nokia. That's right. So they were more sort of pushed aside by was that sort of Android and Apple, wasn't it? The two big leaders, the sort of those guys. Yeah, let's say iOS and is it Microsoft Android? Yeah. Who's it? Sorry. Google. Sorry, that's right. See, I'm learning so much today. Orange. The Orange Network. Yeah, they're still around. They've been taken out by O2, haven't they? EE. Yeah. So EE, O2. So they've been out competitors. So what these organizations have in common is that even though they were a market leader, by not adapting, by not doing enough research on current trends and what was going on, they ended up falling behind and their brand image started to suffer. And that can be fatal to a brand when it starts to suffer. Does anybody know what happened to Co-op Bank in the UK?
Yeah.
We tried to talk about it. It was terrible news. They, basically reputational damage and the brand suffered and people started to leave further other sort of organizations. So that's why we go back. Okay, so let's start looking at the proposal. In a few minutes we will play a table game. With a prize? No, I'm afraid not. The prize has gone down. Sorry. You'll have my undying respect. Is that okay? Is that nice? Okay, here we go.
Saying you want everything like 2011.
Yes, let's go back. Very good point. That's what happens when I don't follow my notes and I get talking. This is something that we're going to be looking at. In fact, yeah, we stay on this for a little bit. When you're conducting research and understanding your market, one of the key other things that a lot of these organizations didn't realize, particularly Blockbuster and certainly Kodak didn't realize this either, was the established marketing doctrine is this: you won't ever think like your customer. A great example of this is a group of 40-year-old men sitting around trying to think of an idea for toys for children. I'm not going to think like a 7-year-old. But they can do enough research and understanding of their market that when they do put that toy into action, that it's actually going to appeal and to be worth purchasing. So yeah, so thank you very much for putting that on that. Okay, next slide, please. Okay. Right. I'm just going to find out which slide I'm on. Just going to skip. Okay. Okay. That's can we make that big? So when you've got a new cooperative coming out and a new organization, can I ask if anybody here is thinking about being involved in their cooperative sort of branding or marketing, or is even thinking about starting a new cooperative? Oh great, we've got lots of people. Brilliant, okay. Anyone else? Okay, fantastic. So when you're going to start your journey, you may have already done this when you look at the product or service that you're producing. Any examples of what people are planning to do?
example,
Your product or your service? What is your
organic products.
Organic products, okay, right. So they're like foodstuffs and things like that. Yeah, lovely. Food co-op.
Urban products.
Right, okay, yeah, great. And have you already sort of started?
We are manufacturing urban products, so we are planning to brand.
Wonderful, brilliant, excellent idea. Okay, great. So you're going to be reaching a point where you need to make a decision, and there's two conflicting, well not conflicting, but two different schools of thought. This was thought up by Harvard in 2005, and it's the combination of either blue ocean or red ocean marketing. Now, blue ocean is when you're a market leader, you come up with something totally new, you're entering a market that has not got any other competition, you're not challenging anybody, and this can have a lot of benefits for many reasons. It can also not have, or also have some pitfalls as well, which we will cover. Red ocean marketing, now that's something that you see a lot of, and there's some really big examples of organizations and products that are red ocean. Very crowded ones, such as clothing, for example, coffee, new coffee chains. Can anyone think of anything else where there's a crowded market that people are trying to get into? Music streaming services? Taxis, yeah, that's a big one now, isn't it? Yeah. Anything else?
Coffee to go.
Coffee to go, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So many people coming out with new coffee goggles, yeah. So normally you'd think, why would you do that? But with red ocean, that can also have a lot of benefits as well. It's not just a bad thing that there's a crowded market. So there's two different options you can have when you come into that. We will talk about that as well as we move on. The two main important points to think about when you're looking into to moving into a brand, and the simplest things that do affect a brand, is one, the philosophy of it really needs to speak to the emotional level. Because it is the soul of your organization, and you need people, as we've talked about before, to become ambassadors for it, you need to tap into their emotions. The emotional part of it is definitely the part that hits the most strongly. And secondly, and this is quite an obvious one, but you'll be amazed how many people don't do this. Don't promise what you can't deliver, because that will be fatal to the brand. Modern people are very savvy. They do their research. And there's been many examples of organizations that have promised something and then it doesn't deliver, the brand takes a massive hit. Medicine is a classic example of this. These pills will make you taller. I don't know. And it fails. Yeah, thank you. Another good example is Greta Thunberg. Now, if she was to go over a private jet and to drive between conferences in a limo, then nobody would listen to what she had to say because she's not backing up her claims. She's not real, she's not authentic, and there's been research to prove that particularly younger generations, people like us, we value authenticity above a lot of other things. And cooperatives at the heart of authenticity, I would say. Great, thank you. So we're going to move into cooperative identity tools, but first of all we'd like to play a little game. Has everybody got paper and pens on their table? Fantastic. So, I'm going to just have to move the slides to the right place. It's okay, I'll do it, because we're moving ahead a bit here. Good fire question. Starting your journey. What I'd like you to do as a table is appoint a spokesperson, someone with the paper. And what we're going to do is, first of all, come up with a fictional company. It could be anything. It could be real, if you like, if you're thinking of planning a company. You can give it a go yourself. Have a think amongst the group. What is its main function and its purpose? Now, you can go for something obvious, like selling something, but there might be an ulterior motive as well. You might be selling something, but to help a community, or maybe a children's charity as well. So we need to try and link the two together. What is the target audience? Who are you actually going to be looking at? You can say everybody if you like, but You might also have a more particular group in mind, particularly with your organic food organisation. I guess you might have some idea about who that's going to be targeted at. Yeah? Great. And then think about, once you've got those 3 points, how is this going to look and feel? How are you going to really speak on an emotional level to the target audience that you have? What sort of things might they be interested in? What sort of things might speak to them? And then finally, how is that going to get across to people? And this is a tricky one. Again, it involves marketing. But there's a lot of different ways that you can use, like social media, like brand mascots and other things to really communicate that message across. So I'll give you 10 to 15 minutes or so just to talk amongst the group and build your cooperative. Okay? Has anybody got any questions? No? All good? Okay. So time starts now. Go.
Any ideas for me to
So
So the audience is vegan.
There's research on that. Research says that if you were to do a job interview, people will trust you more. And you're right.
How's everybody doing? Which point are you on? You guys are on point 45? Which point are you guys on? Last one. Cool, okay. One more minute.
Also, the main customers are moms. Moms like the consider our, marketing is for moms.
To the customers.
Our marketing goes to
How do you
This mostly
there are some, especially in social media, there are kind of
I think that's
Ooh, are we getting there? Done? Another minute?
3 minutes to start branding. We didn't finish.
Oh,
What's this the brand?
yeah, it's all right.
It's very simple to that off your head. Just that one, so. Food off.
If you want to do it big, make it bold. I was impressed with the group. We actually came up with the brand. We haven't looked at the financial side, so there's more work to do.
Absolutely, yeah. We're really sorry.
Yeah, oh, I was debating where they're
Pictures of Is there any
things that you get from
those people?
How do you think?
The farmers.
Ideas, for example, if I were a startup,
What was it?
And also, the profit goes to the community.
some kind of demo,
Is that in the advertising base? Do people know that?
These are some Christian English.
What are different types?
And just very small types of larger audience, not necessarily
The advertising is in video.
the type of
pictures, yes.
pretty modern and it must feel like a sort of modern or forward-thinking instead of the problem is that for so you must feel like see this is the system for the future. This is look out the planet and therefore so the modern as well as the simple. And is it or is it
You have videos about farmer?
Yeah, how they are producing.
Okay, probably able to move on now. Quite a lot to cover. Are we all pretty happy? Yeah?
Free
Pretty happy?
simple as well.
You okay? We've got the logo there, covered in. Fantastic. Okay, everybody, so I would like you to nominate one person on your table that has got the most outgoing personality and get them to stand up, and let's run through the points of these fictional cooperatives that we have here. So let's start with this table because they've got a great idea. So is anybody going to stand up and deliver it? Go through it point by point or whichever, just tell us about it actually, it doesn't really matter how you tell us about it. 10 seconds. Okay, we're just finishing over here, so let's start with these guys over here. We'll give you a little bit more time to finish. Go for it, guys.
Oh, we're ready.
Do you want a microphone? Do you want to be able to speak?
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. This is Team Food Co-op. So this is a real business made by one of our team member, Zolo, from Mongolia. She's making a food cooperative with the name is Food Co-op. So the name is Food Co-op, no special brand.
Great.
Yeah. The co-op that is used is the international co-op logo. Add food on that name. So the name is only Food Co-op. The food cooperative is on multi-stakeholder, owned by the workers and the farmers, and also, the workers and the farmers especially. The main function and the drive is to sell organic and local products like dairy, cheese, vegetables, berries from the farm to the cities. The drive is because farmers lack in skills of marketing and selling, so this food cooperative will help them to reach the right audience and the right market. And then the customers themselves, they feel hard to find good quality food. So the people in the city, they feel like the food is not good, not fresh, too many processed food. So this food co-op will be their solution. The audience, the main customers are especially mothers, because they are the ones who buy the produce and then they cook it in their own homes, and also the farmers themselves. So we need to come to the farmers to ask them to join the cooperative. The look and feel, the logo is like this. Maybe you can see.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Food Co-op.
Fantastic. Keep hold of that because we will talk about logos in a sec.
Okay, and then the feel that we want to the audience to get is natural, with the picture of the products and also pictures of the farmer in the fields, those kind of things. And how are you going to get that across? We will use video. We have videos and pictures of the farmers in the fields. We share them to social media, web, and we are also planning to make an app. The app will be connecting the buyers and the stores, and then we'll advertise physically in some places. And also the packaging itself is 3R, so it's 3.
Recyclable and reduce the waste.
Fantastic. Wow. Brilliant. A round of applause for those guys. Amazing. What a really strong brand image you have. Is that all in place already? Or did you, is that something you're doing? Fantastic, brilliant. Really ticks all those off. Great, sort of emotional, I feel emotionally connected. I'm recovered by some of that produce. Fantastic. Let's move on to table 2.
So we were talking about a real cooperative, which named Public Health. And this cooperative is selling organic food for affordable price. We try to do it. And this is a consumer cooperative, and we want to encourage sustainable farmer. And like when we are talking about sustainable farmer, it's about it can be about biodynamic or permaculture. And so the audience for this cooperative is, it can be vegan audience, of course, people who are eating raw food, it can be also religious audience, and it's mostly people with high income because the price is a bit it's not very cheap. So it's not used under 25 years old. And how it look, and how it feel, and we don't have a logo yet. And so we will create a logo, a green logo, with maybe leaf and plants, of course. It should look modern, and maybe like with a modern typography. And that's all. Can you help me? Next question. And so the last question was, how are we going to get that across?
Social media, website, different fairs, conferences.
Maybe.
Great, fantastic, fantastic. So you can see here, that's great. Round of applause first of all for these guys. Well done, good stuff. You can see how they've got a very similar product or maybe an idea, but the branding behind it, the idea that they're going to actually use to convey this across is very subtly different, isn't it? They've got different ways of looking at it. You're going to go for a very modern feel. Yeah, fantastic. Number 3. You can if you like, or whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay, so our group is going to do the social cooperative, which is the school for the students with disabilities. And the main function and drive for this cooperative is that they can get accessible education and support from the cooperative. The audience is the family who have children with disabilities and the primary school students. What is the look and feel? I'm going to show the logo. This is the logo.
Look at that.
This
That's
is
just a genius.
symbol of hand helping the disabilities. The blue is showing that they are helping. Oh my god, I'm shaking.
You're doing brilliantly, you're doing very well. Keep it up.
How are we going to get that across through the social media and schools? We're going to schools.
Okay, going to schools. Yeah, just educate about it. Yeah. Brilliant idea. Excellent. Round of applause for these guys. Fantastic. Well done, everybody. That really shows that branding is something that you can really get together, and when you actually sort of feel emotionally yourself about it, when you put your own passion into it, and we're all passionate people. That's why we're here at the cooperative movement, isn't it? You feel passionate about cooperatives. That's when we're putting that into our branding. That's when people can feel the authenticity, when they can feel the emotional content. And that is crucial to a really, really good brand, because that lets people step in there. We've got our fantastic organisation, so we've already started out a little bit, particularly on table 3 there. Let's have a look at some logos. Okay, go back again. It's a little game. Now, I did some research on this, and then an article came out and went around Facebook, basically gave all the answers away, which made me a little bit annoyed. But hopefully you haven't seen that article, so you will you won't know the answers to this already. Here are some powerful brands. Everybody know Amazon? Yeah? Does everybody know FedEx? Yeah? Or know FedEx? We've seen Castaway. These guys have put a lot of thought and a lot of planning into their logos and how this links to their brand. Let's start with Amazon. Can anybody put their hands up, or actually just shout out? Can you see a hidden meaning in the Amazon logo?
A to Z.
Yes! Ooh! I was going to hope that was the third one that nobody got. Make it look really clever. Yes! A to Z or A to Z. The arrow is going from A to Z or Z. This is to symbolize the fact that they sell everything from A to Z. There's another one. Do anyone see it? Yes, sir.
Smile.
There is a smile. See that there? That is a smiley face. This linked with the Amazon Smile campaign, and it's to show that you will be happy with their service. And the third and most obvious one is... Which one's that? Amazing. Do you know what? I didn't think of that, but you are right. Amazon, Amaze. Follow that. You've got it.
Delivery.
The delivery, the arrow, that's right. Fast delivery. The arrow showing that it's going to be delivered to you quickly. All of that encompassed within a single logo. And a logo is often the first thing people will see or know about your organization and what you're doing. FedEx, similar company. Does anybody already know the hidden meaning in the FedEx logo? That's almost on the research. Tell us all about it.
The arrow.
The arrow, can people see it? Between the E and the X is an arrow.
First time I
Everybody see it? Yeah. Same sort of company, same sort of logo, both showing that you're getting fast delivery through an arrow. Very powerful hidden meanings. We've also had to go with this. This is the .co-op logo and our tagline. Elevate your identity. Can anybody see the hidden meaning? Go for it.
Limitless.
Limitless. Oh, like that. yeah. So you get that from the infinity, yes. So, no, but it's going to be from now on. I've got another option.
Circles of interaction, of interconnection of people and cooperatives.
Absolutely, yes. Now, this is not the exact point of this logo, but it utilizes the cooperative mark, which absolutely was designed with that in mind. Yeah, next one.
Some kind of chain connecting people and
Yeah, that's it. It shows a chain connecting people, links. Yes, absolutely.
This can be one as well, but 4 circles as 4 different regions.
Yeah. 4 different regions. I like that as well. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. So I was kind of hoping he was going to be here today, Sean, because he had a hand in designing this. Calvert's designed this logo back with the ICA, and he'd be able to tell us a bit more about it.
Question.
Yeah.
How much costed this final result of logo from beginning to the end?
Beginning to end. The design process. Yeah, good question. Do you know? Finn? No? I will have to look that up and I'll tell you about it. So send me an email and I'll find out, because I know Sean would be able to answer if he was here. He'd know. Does anybody else know?
Well, yeah, that was it. Question.
Yeah?
What about the color?
Now the colour, yeah. So the colour was decided to be different from the cooperative mark. So the mark comes in a lot of different colours, official colours that you can use. This was one of the ones that stood out as being different. And you're right, we chose that colour because next to the black dot, it sort of makes the dot pop out. So one of the things that we also thought about was the case of the tagline, elevate your identity. Initially, we put it here. But then we thought, why don't we put the elevate your identity above the .co-op, because it's symbolizing elevation, that the .co-op is raising your identity. A little bit meta, isn't it? A little bit. We felt kind of proud about that. But that is another idea of how the elevation at the top can symbolize it raising your cooperative identity. Okay, so cooperative identity. What does it mean? So, let's have a think about this, because this is really the crux of this session, and it's going to be great to find out what you guys think about this, because a lot of people have been putting words and mind power to what it means to be a cooperative, and how we can harness brands and marketing to really push that forward. So, I'd just like to go around, shout out. When I say cooperative identity, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Anybody? Yeah?
Ways of practice.
So, was it ways of practice?
How cooperative values are introduced practice in this
Yeah.
about the identity of these people.
So you think, yeah, so the co-op identity is much linked to its values and practices, yeah?
How
Yeah.
should they integrate universal cooperative practices? Because it's the religion, country, institutes, history level.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So you're bringing that all together and connecting that with co-ops. Yeah. And someone over here.
Healthy and cheap products.
Healthy and cheap products. Yeah. So you're doing sort of products that people can afford and it's healthy. They can. People. That's a great one. People. They make cooperative identity.
Affordable and quality product.
Affordable and quality, yeah, so we can put that in there as well.
Free trade.
So what was that?
Free trade.
Free trade.
Fair
Fair trade. Free trade. That's great. Tell me the way these are. I hope they didn't have Lamborghinis. Fair trade. Great. And the others?
Shared ownership.
Shared ownership. Yeah. People that are involved in the cooperative, they own a cooperative.
Member
Yeah.
benefits.
So,
Member benefits.
member benefits. Nice.
Participation.
Participation. Let's go for one more. Who hasn't said anything yet? Purpose of life. Great. So, those are some fantastic examples of what it means to be a cooperative and what we all associate with cooperative identity. And I agree, I hear these words all the time when people talk about cooperatives. But what this also shows is the huge range of differing ideas about what identity means and what the cooperative movement means. And it's even bigger when you consider the whole scope of the whole globe, and we're as a global movement. To different people in different countries, cooperatives can be vastly different in what they are and what they mean to you. For example, I didn't know this until I joined the cooperative movement, but you can have a group of private enterprises that gather themselves together into a cooperative. Very, very different meanings to say an organic food co-op providing affordable and cheap food. So this is the challenge, isn't it? Because we're trying to bring all of these people together, we're trying to link them, and it means so many different things. So what can we do? How can we make ourselves ring true? How can we bring all of these disparate ideas back together? Well, for example, first thing we need to do is to think how simple we can make things. So first of all, looking back at the logos, when you've got so many different organizations and so many different things across the world, how can we actually link these together? How can we bring together things that are organizations that are doing wildly different things? Well, one of the ideas is the cooperative mark. We all know what the co-op mark is? All seen this? Yeah? We'll look at some ideas. I actually found a Malaysian example, a local example. Are you guys from Malaysia? Yeah? Do you know? Hold on. Put the pen down. Here we go. Found a photo. Malaysia update. News outlet. Do you recognise that? Don't recognise that? You did not heard of it. Okay. So this is a news outlet, I'm told, from Malaysia that have incorporated the mark into their logo. Let's look at some other examples. Okay, that's the domain, we talked about that, yeah. Again, I apologise, this is a UK co-op, but it's what I know. Revolver Cooperative. They've incorporated their own branding, so their name, into their logo, and they've stuck the cooperative mark right at the top of their drinking chocolate. Hot chocolate, chocolate chaud. Yeah. Very, very clear link there between the organisation with its own branding and the cooperative movement. Next one, please. This is a financial cooperative from Colombia. Any Spanish speakers in? Good. We won't really butcher it. Confier Cooperativa. They are a financial cooperative and they use the domain, and you can see how they've used their mark on the left-hand side, but they've also used the domain here to link with their name, Confier Co-op. Holistically bringing their own branding, their own purpose and organization together into the movement. And that's one of the things they do very effectively. Okay, that's good, okay. Going to do a quick time check. Okay, got about 20 minutes, that's good. Does anybody else know, by the way, of any examples of the cooperative market in action? Oh, right, okay, yeah. Do you have do you have an image on you or anything of those guys?
Sorry?
Do you have an image on your phone or anything? Yeah, Google it. That'd be great. We'll see another one in action. Anybody else? Can you do a quick Google?
I have one right here.
Hey, we've got one right here.
It's the National Association for Canada. So we used the mark, we added some colors and the maple leaf in the middle and put Canada underneath.
Yeah, very cool. Anybody else? Got something on them, perhaps? Anchors looking for something by the looks of it? Oh, we don't have that. Okay. No problem. But yeah, so these are very effective ways and organizations that are currently using this model at the moment. Let's look at it more in a digital and online branding point of view. Okay, if you want to skip on. Okay. Great. So before we look at an online brand or an online performance, let's have a look at how some other organizations use different methods. Oh, we've got the logo. Let's have a look. Oh, nice. Two color. Yeah? Yeah, do you want to show? I don't know if you can see it, but they've got a nice two-tone co-op mark logo. So with branding, there's different ways that a brand can perform on a certain model. So first of all, you've got the company name strategy. Can anyone think of an organization which pushes its name first and foremost as its key draw? So its logo or something as its name. We've looked at a few. Xerox, yes, that's a good one. FedEx as well. They make their name a big thing. So that's the company name strategy. Samsung, yes, absolutely. Different to Apple, which use their logo that you don't ever really see Apple written about, do you? So yeah, so that's a classic example of a company name strategy. There's also some other ways of marketing and branding yourself. Attitude marketing. Does anybody know anything or any brand that is pushing a lifestyle or a community of people? Yeah?
Harley Davidson.
Which one's that?
Harley Davidson.
What do they do?
Motor company.
Motor company, yeah, okay, so they're pushing that sort of motorist lifestyle, yeah? Starbucks?
Apple.
Yeah.
Apple. If you're Apple, you're Apple.
Great example. Yes, you're an Apple user, you're part of a community. Yeah, absolutely, you've got to have everything. Yeah, this is the community. Attitude marketing is very powerful because it speaks to an emotional part of you. It also speaks to almost biological functions as well. Fear of missing out. You know about FOMO? Yeah, nobody wants to miss out on something, do they? That's what attitude marketing speaks to. Identity or iconic brands. I don't think of any big, iconic, usually older brands. Sometimes American. Chevy? Chevy. It's like, yes, possibly Chevy. Chanel, exactly.
All the high fashion.
Great example, yeah. Really, they're the high fashions, yeah, the established fashion brands, absolutely, they're iconic. They're a very good example of that. Function branding. This is putting the function above all else. Usually safety equipment and things like that. Put function before anything else when they're branding. Yes, exactly. Really good idea. Yeah, safety equipment, things like that. Anything which speaks to you really want this to work. You know, yeah. Yeah, function. Yeah, I think they're a good mix between maybe the attitude marketing of the Ray-Ban users and then, yeah, you don't want your eyes to be fried out by the sun when you're wearing your sunglasses. Yeah. Then personal branding. We all know personal branding, don't we? Everyone got their favourite celebrity? Yes. Kardashians, maybe something like that. Yeah.
I was thinking more like Spotify.
Spotify.
Very individual.
Right, yeah, that's a very interesting take. Under personal branding, yeah? They're pushing the fact that you are an individual and you're going to have it your way. Great idea. Yes, absolutely. That's another way of looking at it. Personal brand. So when you look at your organization, you see how these things link together. You can see that your online presence will then be shaped by this strategy. Okay. And online we see the Trinity of branding. Has anyone heard of the Trinity of branding before? No? Say it all together with me now. It's going to be the domain, the tagline, the logo. All together. The domain, the tagline, the logo. Absolutely. This is the heart of good online branding.
Yes.
Okay. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about domains. This was inevitable because it's where I come from. Let me tell you a little bit about it. Would you like to hear it one more time? Does anybody know what the .com bubble is? How it works? Sorry? No, nearly. But yeah, so the .com bubble was, a while ago, the only domain that was available to everybody was .com. And this created a $1 billion industry because you could only have one shop.com. You could only have one insurance.com. And these were where everybody went when they wanted shopping or insurance. And these domains went for millions and millions. And it basically created a really unequal society because if you open a shop, you can't compete with the guy that's paid millions for shop.com because he's not going to part with it for less than millions. So the organisation that oversaw the internet decided to come out with some new ones, and this was going to break the .com bubble and give people an opportunity to be competitive. And they've now thousands of them. I don't know if you've ever come across a really weird one. Has anyone walked into a website and gone, hang on, what's that? After the dot, like .ninja or something. No? Has anyone seen that? No. There's millions. No, well, there's thousands. One of the first ones that was to come out after the .com bubble was .coop. And this was projected or proposed by a group of cooperators when this first came out as a way to really stamp the identity of cooperatives on the internet and to provide our own space. This was debated, it was voted upon, and it won. And we ended up with the .coop domain. This was back in 2001. So, I'm not going to stand here and go, .com's great, you should get one. Because that's not going to convince anybody. What I'd like you to do with our little bit of remaining time that we have, and we're going to have to be quick with this, because we don't have much time left. Just for a couple of minutes, take a piece of paper on each of your tables, draw a line down the middle, and write .com, good, on the left-hand side. And then write .com, bad, on the other hand. And I want you to really think about why a .com domain will be a good idea, both for the movement and for a cooperative, but then also think about what the challenges might be of a .com domain, what obstacles might stand in the way for people. This is a really interesting way of trying to understand the idea of a domain specifically for cooperatives. So I'll give you just 3 minutes, if that's okay. So if you just talk amongst yourselves, and we'll come up with some ideas.
For unity, people know it's more connected to national. Yeah, like it's more reflective. It's kind of like model.
So,
This is true.
yes, within, so in the store, with
Well, not to hide it. Yeah, it's difficult.
You're better at something like
How old is it? What guess?
I can't tell, you have a very ambiguous look.
I did that.
But you have to just see the confidence in yourself. I will put you on the spot.
Yes,
And
totally.
you might
I don't want to switch to everyone like that. Everybody will have the drinks. How's people doing? Good?
No one.
Okay, I'm going to, I'd like to spend more time on this, but we're running out of time. Sadly. I'd love to spend a few more hours with you all, actually. But there we go.
Well, maybe it doesn't show nationality.
Yes,
So I
Okay, so let's start with table 2. No, who start with last time? Who wants to start with you guys? Yes. Right. Let's have some good and some bad. My pen's running out. Have you got that blue? Okay. Let's start with the good stuff. What do you think? Why do you think the document might be?
benefits for all members.
Benefits for members. So yeah, highlighting the benefit of being cooperative. Yeah. That's interesting that we're actually integrating that into our Apex plan at the moment as a member benefit. Yeah, it's very important. Anything else?
Good for unity.
Unity, yes, it's a symbol of unity. Very powerful, and probably one of the real cruxes of the whole idea behind the marking the domain. Another one? Or was that?
Showing the social responsibility for the community.
Right, so it's like a badge of organization showing responsibility, yeah. Badge of who we are. Good, can't spell it also. Okay, great, and let's move on to the bad before we use more than we learned.
It's quite expensive.
Expensive, yes. Hear this a lot. Hear this a lot. Yes. Well, the thing is that the domain is sold via a big selection of retailers all across the globe. And we don't tell the retailers what price they need to set on the domain. And when people talk about the domain being expensive, they often are thinking of perhaps the old price was set by domains.com, which was $120, which is very expensive. When you consider a .com goes for about $10 a year, $120 is a lot. But the reason the domains.com set that price was because they were a tiny little team and completely unfunded. So we literally had with a small number of domain registrations to keep ourselves afloat. So we set that price. However, there are other retailers out there across the world, and we're building more and more networks for this, who are massive. Gandhi, Encirca in the US. These organizations that have got the money already there, and they are often setting the domain a lot lower, maybe $90 a year, maybe $80 a year. So it's actually becoming a lot more affordable. And we're even looking at discounts for particular regions that are having trouble in affording the domain. So yeah, it is an ongoing thing. It is a verified domain, which means it's never going to be cheap as the .com, because not everybody can have it, and we can't literally just press a button and there you go. There has to be a process of us checking up and all that sort of thing. So it's never going to be as cheap. But the main point is, the more people that get it, the cheaper we can make it. Because, there's more people. So anyway, expense. I didn't mean to just go off on a massive expense there, but ask. That's an important one to ask. Any others?
Not many people recognize .com.
Exactly. Recognition, yeah. If you walked out on the street and you pointed a .com, would people would they know what it is yet? Yeah, the chances are probably not. Okay, let's do a different table. You guys over there, what have you got in the good?
On a good list that is understood by other cooperators.
Right.
So you have it, that's
so yeah, it's like
recognizable to your fellow cooperators.
Yeah, so it's recognition within the movement. Very important for organisations looking to do business with other cooperatives, would you say? Any others?
And the other one I think that's not been mentioned already is that you benefit from the existing brand that .coop already has. So all of the good things about the brand, you benefit from that because you have the .coop.
Right, okay, yeah, so it's tapping into a existing body of work that's been done by other organisations, isn't it? You're grabbing that off the shelf. Yeah. You got, bad. Have you got any new bad ones?
One that you mentioned was that it needs enforcing.
Right, that's a good thing thinking about, yes. Enforcement.
And then that enforcement comes with both costs and time. So
exactly.
The time to set it up is much longer whilst you're waiting for the enforcement.
Exactly, and a lot of other potential pitfalls as well, maybe misappropriation of justice perhaps. The .com police are coming. Yeah, definitely. That's a big one. Anything else? No? Oh, this is last of the statement.
Someone else should do it, not about us.
Yeah, this guy, he's not allowed to talk about it. Yeah, go ahead.
So about positive, it's money stay in cooperative sector. For example, they go for such guys that are involved, help to branding, they're not going to outside some commercial offshores and so on.
Do you know what? I hadn't actually thought of that one, and that's a really great point. Yes, if you buy a .com from a private company, the money leaves the movement. However, if you buy a .co-op, you pay .com the registry, and the money goes directly to the ICA and to the NCBA. It stays within the movement and gets re-put back into other plans, things like this, for example. Yeah.
And from disadvantage,
yes.
No additional services, because for example, one is small business or small cooperative, on servers, maybe consulting, when you buy under key, yes, and sometimes not very convenient.
It's not simple. Yes.
For large co-ops, maybe it's not a problem. Yes, when they have IT service, but for small, maybe it's for startups.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a very good point. If you're buying the domain from, say, domains.com, then you can't really get your whole package in one place, can you? You can't get your hosting, your website design, all the other things. You have to look elsewhere. It's extra work. Exactly, it makes it harder. These are great points. And I'm not here to affirm or refute any of these at all, really. I sort of talked a little bit about the expense, but these are all ongoing things that the people are talking about with the domain, and by and large, there aren't any real easy answers. The domain is community enforced. That means there isn't the boys who are not going to rush up and take you away because you're using a .com domain, and you shouldn't. But organisations out there who do spot .com users that have maybe changed from being cooperative into being private, they can let us know, and we are then able to contact them and find out whether they actually really should be having one. Again, simple convenience, this is all stuff that is being worked on, and whether people recognise it or not, that leads on to my very final discussion point, which is I'm not going to go into how to use it and everything like that, because that's all going to be stuff that can be looked up online. The main point of the matter is this, that in the modern world, sorry, Reza, you have a question?
Sorry, I just have a name on the government supports the domains with IR, because of the name of the country. So if you have a domain which is outside IR, which is .com or .coop or anything, then if something happens to the website, like a phishing happens, then the government is not responsible. So we don't have any support for the main provider of the domain. And is there any way that we can also find a solution for this? That's why we have been not very successful to motivate the cooperative to buy this domain.
Right.
Let alone the expenses.
Yeah.
But this is a legal issue.
Right, excellent. Just for all of you guys, extra knowledge, Ali Reza and his organization owns Iran.coop. So I think you're the only organization in Iran that uses .com domain, and it's been a real learning experience for us all, hasn't it, really, in how to get a domain into a country that's the same thing. So yeah, that's a great point, and I think, Finn, is there a way that we could probably start to discuss this? We might, particularly, is anybody on the ICA Patio channel at all? The internet, technological discussion board?
Well, the youth network just
Brilliant, the youth network's fantastic, great stuff. Maybe we can start this discussion on there and try and come up with some differences, because it's going to be different for each domain. Wonderful. How much time have we got? A couple of minutes? 1 minute?
Less 5 minutes.
Less than 5 minutes. Okay, let's go back one. I'd like to leave like no forward. So forward. If you go back to the previous one. Yeah, great. That's good stuff. Right, because I'd like to leave time for some questions at the last. Basically, what we're looking at in terms of the global world is the challenges we have, as you've pointed out amongst yourselves. There's incredible variety of ways that people think about cooperatives, the ways that cooperatives mean to different people, and there's incredibly different sort of perspective on branding as well, and how brands can be utilized by organizations. The world has never had more opportunity for choice. In some countries more than others, but now we're looking at more choice than ever before, often in the ways that we shop, ways that we do sort of business and all sorts of things. So if you boil it down, then one of the only things that we can really do collectively is to make it simple for people and to give people that choice, to give people the opportunity to choose us and to really connect with the cooperative movement. And now it's going to be a long slog probably to be able to connect enough people with the tools that we have to be able to give them that choice to choose us. But that is really sort of the first step that we can do to bring the cooperative movement out into the limelight. And it's something that we're hearing a lot, is how we can break the movement into the wider world, how the public can get to know us. So that's really the big question that I'll leave you all with. So, that's pretty much where we are for branding and identity. I would like to say that you've all been wonderful. Thank you so much for participating today. Thank you. One of the first steps that we're doing is trying to break on the public sphere out into the wider world. This domain here, take a photo of it or write it down, something like that, and fill the form out, please. If you would, it would be fantastic. What it does is it allows me to then be able to send out emails to all our media ambassadors, telling you when cooperative events are going to happen, what the hashtag is, and what the social media accounts that are connected with them are doing, so where you can actually find the information about it. Then everybody else in the network can go and share, they can like, they can retweet, they can create a buzz around these events. And we've been using them quite good effect over the last few events. The more people, then the better. So yeah, all it will be an occasional email from me to let you know these things are happening. And also, if you're putting on something, then you can send me an email too and tell me all about it, and I'll immediately get the details out to everybody, because we want to pull together and get the movement out there, break through, get us trending #1 in countries. You know, that's always the best thing, isn't it? When you're in a country and you see co-ops at the top. Oh, yes. Okay, so that's everything. Does anybody have any questions before we finish? So you can always email me if you do. Yes? Yes, go.
I guess a bit of a question or just observation. I spoke to you at dinner about this. In the UK, we've got lots of different co-ops who have similar but different logos. And are you a supporter of everyone having a co-op mark?
I would say that when you say having it,
Yes.
then yes, to actually have it. The way that you use it is completely up to you. It can be used for anything, maybe even something as simple as at the bottom of an email. So you wouldn't have to completely change your whole branding. But if somebody sends an email out, or every time your organisation is communicating with somebody else, there's that logo at the bottom. Very easy, very simple changes. That's right, yeah. Excellent point. Yeah. So we're...
Yeah, just to talk a little bit more about the mark here as well. So the domain is a little bit disconnected from the mark in the fact that with the mark, once you pass registration, it's completely free to have. And it is a free brand that you can just, you get Finn over there, we'll send you the materials. We'll send you the information. Yeah.
The question is about cooperative identity in our workshop. What about the question about coop washing, like greenwashing? For example, if is an applicant for .com said I'm a coop, I'd like to buy a coop name. How do you assess the willingness? Because even looking on website, even looking on legal form, even looking in being a member of ICE member in local country is not, the truth. How do you do that? Because now maybe it's the best cops now here, yes. And later when we will develop, maybe some like to be like a cop. How do you, because of small team, how do you filter and protect your brand for quality, for membership?
Yeah, sure.
Great questions, and I'll have to take this one as my last one and just wrap this up. So sorry, but again, if you've got any more, do email me, and I'll do my best to answer. How do we verify cooperatives? We're a tiny team. How do we do that? It's an involved process. Essentially, we use loads of different ways to tell whether an organisation is worthy of having a .com. Sometimes it can be very easy, like they are registered with their home country's central organisation that they are a cooperative structure. Sometimes it's not that simple, and they could be a housing group, basically, a bunch of people in a housing association. In fact, we had one in America where it was a bunch of people living in a house. They say, hey, we're a cooperative. And they're like, well, you kind of maybe need to give us a bit more than you're all just mates living in a house together. So what they did is they went and registered with their local Apex Confederation, which was NASCO, a student housing cooperative. And once they registered with the Apex as a cooperative, that gave us the green light to be able to say, great, you guys are part of the cooperative movement, part of the Apex. That's what gives us the tip. It really isn't any hard and fast rules. Finn has had a lot of occasions where he's had to really delve into it. And as a small team, how do we protect the brand and enforce the brand? Really, we don't, because .com isn't really ours. It's not our little team's thing that we're trying to do. It belongs to the movement as a whole. Every cooperative, in essence, is a part of this. It's a cooperative idea. And it's the movement really that polices it for us. So occasionally someone will send us an email and say, we know if this organisation is using it, they shouldn't. And then we've got the power to be like, hey guys, can you help us out here? Tell us why you're worthy, sort of thing. Yeah. So that's kind of it. So yeah, apologies for this one more time. I think we've got some peer groups and stuff to do now as well, I think. Thank you so much for being a wonderful group. You really all participated, and so many of you coming out as well. So thank you very much. Give yourself a hand.
Tomorrow will be the same, not a continuous.
Yeah, so on your programs it might say part 1 and part 2. Tomorrow will be exactly the same process again. Probably not exactly the same because it's me, but yes, there won't be part 2 tomorrow. So thank you very much for that.